The precedent set by rugby, you fear for the next national teams because in this weekend. There's a time we're talking about good things. Now you have to be very, very worried.
You know when people who read the Bible say that there's time for everything. That
time has come.
It is time to lament. Because
That time. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Weekly Wowos. I'm your weekly host, Dennis Musali. I'm back this week. I took a short trip to Western Uganda. Fort Portal is Western Uganda, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Western Uganda. We're going to Fort Portal to try and prepare for upcoming Schools Boys Championship. This year it will be hosted in Fort Portal. Last year we were in Jinja, and this time we're taking the schools to Fort Portal. What an amazing place. Fort Portal is truly the tourism city. The only problem is the way they are getting there, but when you get there, you will not be shocked. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Very cold, but one of the facilities we visited has sort of a backdrop of the Rwenzori ranges. So I'm imagining when the kids are playing, and if someone is, if they know how to take nice photos, they will sort of capture that whole image and moment for the kids, and I think they'll have a very, very good experience. I'm sure rugby has been in Fort Portal, and that place is truly amazing, and I think the kids will have a wonderful experience.
no, but we have played in Fort Portal, you don't see anything. You don't see anything down that Valley pitch at
Buhinga Stadium.
You
Oh,
don't see
Buhinga
anything.
Stadium, I saw it. Is it a private facility or something?
No, it's a government thing.
That the old man promised to upgrade to
deliver.
Syria Stadium.
Yeah, but one of
But
the
all
worrying
they
things for
could-
me
all
when
they
we were
could do
speaking
is,
to the tournament will be hosted by Nyakasura,
Yeah,
and
that's
one of the headmaster really there mentioned something that caught my eye. He said that he felt that that region, the Rwenzori region, has been neglected in terms of sports compared to other regions. For them, Nyakasura, because people have been pushing for them to be a good cricketing school and all, they are sort of like they're the lone wolf. They stand out of everyone in the region. And he mentioned that it's not just in cricket, but in all other sports, schools from the Rwenzori region have not been very, very competitive in terms of sports. When they go and compete against schools from other regions, it shows you that Chibulam, they're a bit so. I was a bit worried for the region as a whole.
And yet there was a time when, for example, Central Yosegove was
Yes.
top of basketball. Right?
Basketball and football, I think they were a big footballing school as well.
Yeah, so right now they have Panga SS also trying with football.
Yeah,
Yeah, but generally it's a silent region.
I know. I don't know why, but maybe people from that region can. I really felt that it's a bit unfair. If you compare to the schools in the east, are really so into sport that for them they would rather sport sort of comes first compared to academics. But that is where I was last week when Franklin Kawowo was able to hold fort for me. But we are back this week with another interesting episode. I'll tell you, I've had to calm the guys down, especially Joseph, so that we can be able to start this show. But I have Joseph Mahomes, our resident rugby expert, and our editor of Kawowo Sports, Mr. Franklin Kawowo. As I still continue to cool down, Joseph, let me start with Franklin. Franklin, your starter for this week.
Wow. I don't want to start on an angry note. I want to start with the Gazelles. I feel the media guys or the people that are handling the Gazelles, you're talking Peter Tabu and his team, of course, and the Federation have done quite a good job in trying to publicize what the Gazelles are all about. Of course, being an Afrobasket boy, which is coming up anyway in a few weeks, actually next week, but one. I thought that when they created an event where the fans came and interacted with the players before they left for...
You've stolen my starter, but
that was a very, 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 very nice thing for the team to do. I think as Ugandan sports administrators, I think at the time when fans are a little bit out of touch with their teams, I think doing something like that where you can come and have some sort of meet and greet with your stars that you just see sometimes on TV. We take these things lightly because these are the people we, as journalists, almost meet every day, but there are fans who don't meet them as often as regions get the opportunity to see them almost every day when they're playing. So when you put a platform like that, one opportunity like that for fans to come and interact with the players, I thought that was very, very, very nice from the team handling the Gazelles.
Yeah, kudos Peter Tabo. Meeting that fans meet and greet, I think it's an amazing experience. And that's what I also wanted to talk about. Joseph, you want to add something?
Yeah, let me just chime in on that. You see, now, like, for example, for basketball, some of their players are based overseas, the USA, China, and all those other places. But when you come to some other sports, for example, you'll find some people chilling at Chadi, others chilling at KPA when they have, like, a game tomorrow. So for us, we are not so far away from our stars. Only us can flex like that. We are not so far away from our
You're
stars.
very, very close to your stars.
But I also think that the experience of, I mean, look, talking to these players, of course, as a fan, you can talk to them as a friend or what, because the circle is so small, but the engagement when you have all the freedom to take selfies and then kind of have a light chat with them.
Sort of see them in a different perspective.
The perspective is a bit different.
Yeah.
It's more lighter than just when you're having a few beers here and there.
A good thought process there, and the first time from the Gazelles. I saw a lot of people taking photos with Jenna Sinde, Zama, which was a very good thing. Peter Tabo and your team, kudos to you. I think the rest of us need to just Control C and then Control V, so that we make it something that is that can be done for all the national teams. But for me, I think my starter will be, and it's a story I wrote on Kawowo Sports. It is there. The guys who've been given opportunities to play for the Cricket Cranes in the Pearl of Africa series. I mean, it's sort of. The reaction has been indifferent in the fraternity. Other people thinking maybe we should have gone for a lot of experience. But I sort of, in one of the WhatsApp groups what we have, and I was telling guys that for me, I see it as a glass half full, not a glass half empty opportunity. These are boys who hardly get a look in if guys want to stick to the status quo. Mafi Musingus has been bowling well in our local league. He also got me. That shows that he's bowling well. No. Truly, he's been bowling very, very well. Ronald Nutaya has been, knocking on the door for such a long time, and for him to get an opportunity in a series of this magnitude, very, very good. Calvin Watua, I cannot forget Calvin. Every time we used to play in Ginger, he was one of the tormentors on that Ginger cement. He's worked his way to the national team. He has not been given anything at all. He never played for the junior teams, under 19s, but he had to work so hard to come from Ginger, come and upset the status quo in Kampala. When you're in Kampala, you have a big advantage. But when you come from Ginger, you sort of have to, people start first look at you and I know you. Do you belong? Exactly. And then for him to get this opportunity, I feel that what is a very good reward for him. Last year, he played a semi-professional stint in Zimbabwe. So he's really worked to get this opportunity. Innocent Mwebaze, Joseph Baguma is heir apparent to Frank Nsubuga, and as long as Frank Nsubuga is around, the young boy has to sort of wait, but for him to be given an opportunity. So for me, I was really very happy for the guys who've been given a chance to play for you, because this is a very important series and a big one as well. And the thing is that if I do well in the series, there's a chance you may change the mind of the selectors. So I hope that they grab the opportunity. Of course, some of the feedback hasn't been very good, and I hope they are not, focusing on that and reading it. They are focusing on, you sort of have the people, when they give you feedback, you take it to heart, and then those that give you feedback and you just throw it in the bin. So I hope that they are listening to the good voices, and they use this opportunity as a good one as well. But even importantly, Juma Miyagi is now going to be the captain in the absence of Riyazat Ali Shah. Juma Miyagi's story, for those that don't know, is really an amazing one. He's been a young boy. He's broken down doors, broken barriers for him to get to the top. I remember when he started out, he used to come to Lugogo because of his cousin. So his cousin couldn't leave him at home alone. So the cousin used to come and practice with the R19 team. And he sort of said, since I can't leave you at home, you come and be in Lugogo where I can see you. So that's how we sort of came to Lugogo. And then, of course, as you're waiting for his brother's training for the under 19s, as you're waiting for him to finish practice, you play the konkona around there. You're playing with other kids konkona. We call it konkona, but this is cricket that is not serious. And then I remember even the coach started saying, since Ashraf comes with Miyagi, whoever makes a mistake here, I'm finding you and that man is going to Miyagi. So he is. So the coach said, whoever has made a mistake, guys, who made a mistake, maybe the whole team, a collective total of about $40. And then he will get the $40 and give it to Miyagi and say, hey, Miyagi, go and take it to your grandma, and then she will look after you. So he's been through all those, barriers. He's worked very hard. He's very humble. He's one of our go-to players. And for him to be given the responsibility, I felt that it's a good opportunity for them, and hopefully they can all grab their chances.
And I was, sorry Franklin, I was listening to him speak somewhere on some radio the other day, and he sounded so confident. And interestingly, you mentioned Frank Nsubuga. He said that Frank Nsubuga is part of that team, a very important part of that team, and it reminded me of a famous saying. Guys used to say, for example, you have an old shoe nagambiinga tonka dejisuri, and then you reply, so maybe other sports can also learn from utilizing some of their most experienced assets, because that experience hasn't been gained in the day, and they can add something.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll bring it when we start the rugby conversations about an experienced player from the rugby.
but for me, in a sport where the circle is so small, and if I may put it, controlled like cricket, when you get an opportunity to come in as an outsider, we know mostly cricket comes from schools, and there are traditional cricket playing schools. Now, when you break that barrier and come into a sport that is gate-kept like cricket.
No, gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping. Yeah. When you break that wall and get in, I think for every opportunity you get, you're always deserving. But I wanted to focus a little bit on the two guys. T20 cricket is about being explosive.
Yeah.
I understand the skills required and all that, but the explosiveness of Calvin, on any day. For me, I don't have any problem with naming a player whose batting mentality is T20 and naming them in a T20 squad.
Yeah.
For me, if it was some sort of reserved batter, I would have question. But for a player who is as explosive, these are T20 cricket players, pretty much. And for me, giving them a nod doesn't really surprise me. And I don't think, as a fraternity, we should be having a go at the players who actually are pretty much designed for this kind of cricket. And look, cricket is not, sport is not into mulunjomu. No. People always come in.
Yeah, people come and go.
So obviously you're going to get frustration, especially, again, the fraternity is small. When your friend is not named, you're going to have a few things to say.
Because maybe you benefit from your friend as well. But
for me, giving young players opportunities, specifically young players whose game is pretty much designed to suit T20, I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
And I think these guys are deserving.
And you mentioned how explosive Calvin is. One day I think we were having a meeting at Kopachimni, and they were having a practice down on the ground. But we kept dodging balls. Yay! Watch out, and they were batting from the other end. But you hope that, he can be able to go out there and express himself. There's nothing new. See ball, hit ball, as simple as that. So that was really my starter for the week. But the story is available on Kawowo Sports if you want more details about it. But now that Joseph has come down, let's get into the rugby conversation. And I want to ask him first.
That was a good one coming. First get him into the lights.
First get him a bit low. And let me first ask, and I've been asking, why are rugby fans that angry? Maybe to recap, and I'm sure you've read the stories from Joseph on Kawowo Sports, Uganda on the opening day going down to Kenya, I think is what hurt people most. If it could have been another opponent, maybe people would be Kawa. But went down to Kenya 32-24, if I remember. Yeah, 32-24 in that quarter final. That means that we're already essentially out of the business of the tournament. Then on Sunday when we played against Morocco, a team that a lot of us expected to win, but I mean to defeat, but we still went down 12.
A lot of us, I think, is another statement. All of us.
All of us. Okay, all of us expected us to beat Morocco, but we went down 12 22. 12 24. The details of those stories are available on Kawowo Sports here from Joseph if you want to know more about it. But those two results have really left a bitter taste in a lot of rugby fans. A lot of rugby fans. Let me start from there, Joseph. Let's start with the anger. Why are people angry? Some of us may not understand. Morocco are seeing
First of all, not only the fans, but also we would say also some of the people in the media and whatnot. For example, like today, the format of the show is everyone gives a starter, and then usually my starter comes from rugby, but I don't have anything to start from rugby. So
but they took our cameras.
Maybe we shall hint on that later on. But for starters, I'm a firm believer that the fans have the right to say whatever they want to say.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't, and in my opinion, maybe I'm a bit radical, but it doesn't have to be respectful. It doesn't have to, taste good in your mouth for it to be palatable for you. But I believe that the fans have the right to say whatever they want to say. These are people that take off their time, they take off their money.
Yeah, you also saw what you said.
You take them from work on a Tuesday, and then they come and support you, and that's what you do. Then you tell them to shut up. For some cases, I was seeing some players telling fans, if you've never stepped on that pitch, you do not have a right to speak, which I think is a very unfair thing to say and quite shallow.
Just say the man's name because he belonged to your camp.
No, he wasn't the only one saying that. Actually, yesterday...
Why you guys? I thought you should have given me this information. For me, I say names.
So, for example, yesterday when the Kenyans lost, a former Simba himself said something on social media and said that you can't go into that tournament without a number 10 and you expect to win. And basically, he was saying that the Kenyans were garbage. And then some Kenyan pundits were telling him, but these are your brothers. These are people you've been on pitch together. You shouldn't be speaking like that. Yeah. So then I wonder if at all across the border we are saying that that if you haven't played, you shouldn't speak. And then in Kenya, those who have played are speaking. And then you're also telling them not to speak.
So who should speak?
Exactly, who should speak. So it doesn't make sense.
Franklin?
Look, for me, the thing is, playing and not playing is a choice.
Yeah.
You made the choice to play. You served yourself up for criticism. Some made the choice not to play. Okay, they may not have been talented, but they chose not to play. The moment you go out there and you're representing people, the fire is always going to come.
Yeah.
I think you don't have to have played to have an opinion on any sort of sport, rugby inclusive.
Yeah.
I think when you understand at least the basics of the game, you should be able to make a comment or two about how the team played. And that game against Kenya, everybody was able to see what was going wrong. But you said why were people angry, first of all. I think we have talked about this before. In rugby, you cannot lose to Kenya. In cricket, it doesn't matter. You cannot lose to Kenya, whatever the circumstance. In basketball, losing to Rwanda is almost criminal. You get I think some of these rivalries, you can see them there. I don't think a Ugandan would have minded if, say, we lost to Zimbabwe. In fact, they are not. The fans are not as angry as they were when we lost to Morocco than when we lost to Kenya.
Yeah.
You can just not lose to Kenya in rugby, in cricket. You can just not lose to Rwanda in basketball.
Yeah.
It is. Those are the main rivalries. Those are the main regional rivalries where I think talk is going to happen.
And just to build on what I was trying to say, Franklin, I think the first thing for me is to give a big shout out to the fans. On a Tuesday, I think that place was unbelievably full on a Tuesday. Yet, in my opinion, I also thought maybe most of us will watch online and things like that. Yeah. But for people to show up on a Tuesday, and 30K is not little money in this economy. 30K. You normally break down the maths for us, Joseph. 30K, it is close to 100K. If you're going to add enjoyments and things like enjoyments, nigos, you get to 100K. So a big shout out to the fans who really came through to support the team. The result may not have been good, But for the people who showed up for
No, the
for
result
Uganda,
was bad.
And that's why
To say
people are
that it
hungry.
may not have been good is glossing over it. The result has-
that is okay. Now
you
we're
see, something that Franklin highlights that you cannot simply lose to Kenya, and we have played Kenya for the last 5 games. We have only won 1 game, and that was the game that was at KPA Victoria Cup, I think,
yes.
which also
the last
doubled-
kick from
Last-
Ian
the
Walker.
last minute.
Yeah.
from Liam Walker, that
Liam
last kick, that was the last time we beat Kenya. Then we go over to Kisumu, we are embarrassed. 2024 comes around, we play Kenya twice, we put up a fight in Nairobi, we come to Kampala, another embarrassment. Then we play Kenya again, this time around Rugby Africa Cup, more embarrassment. So I don't know, I don't know whether
We need to hold
it
Joseph
is now
Franklin
making,
from
I
both
don't know whether
sides.
it makes sporting sense,
Yeah.
especially for the Kenyans to keep on engaging in this sort of fixture where they are not getting any sporting value for their players and for themselves.
But okay, let's go into the game. I watched the Kenyan game, but yesterday, because we were playing our local league game, I couldn't be able to catch the game at midday. And but after the game, I tried to ask someone I know who was following, and they said if the performance against Kenya was bad, this was worse. So let us start from there. Educate us what really happened over the 2 games. We never got the result that was desired. We would assume that Kenya is a better opponent, so even if you get a bad result, you can take it. But Morocco is a game everyone felt that we should have won.
Yeah, let us start with the Morocco game, then go backwards. In the Morocco game, we lost the game at the very beginning of it. Within the first 5 minutes, we had already considered the try, and it was such an unfamiliar try because we sort of held the Kenyans in those scrums. But then this particular try that we considered, the Moroccans were on the attack, then they knocked on, and then we got the scrum feed. That means that the ball was ours. We are the ones feeding in the scrum, then we play.
Yeah.
So we get a scrum feed, and then there is a scrum penalty of it because the boys were in scrummaging well. Yes, the Moroccans are quite
Scrum
the
is one of the
units.
things we had spoken about last
Yes.
time, that the guys have improved.
Yes,
Copying
they've-
from what Ginger Hibbos does and
Yes,
things like
yes,
that.
they have quite improved. And, for example, the Moroccans are actually quite big. They are very big boys. But then the scrummage isn't only about the size or the weight, also the technique. And that's where our brilliant front row comes in. But they were already defeated by the 2nd minute. We concede that scrum penalty. And then their number 9 quick stats try. First 2 minutes, we are already behind, and that set the pace for the rest of the game. I do not remember a game where Uganda has gone behind and gone on to win. I do not.
If Joseph does it, I won't say that I do. But Franklin, the game in Sanda against Morocco, what are the areas that you felt that we should have done better from the Kenyan game in this particular game for us to be able to, get a result that will keep the fans happy? Sunday is really sporting day. So, the fans really came out for them.
The hands, but we cannot have the ball in hand. I thought that almost on every 5 tackles, we lost the ball in contact. Almost in every five whatever ball carries, you cannot lose the ball off a tackle. The number of scrums, I think I lost the count on the number of scrums that we conceded just in that first half alone. Because almost in every tackle, we were losing possession. A person who you would think I think they just switched roles that day. Frank Chidega, I don't remember him carrying a ball and did not lose it forward.
Yes, I counted about 2 knock-ons from Frank Chidega on the day.
And all those knock-ons were in contact, contact, and then the ball is gone. I don't think we played well with ball in hand, and given that the scrummaging was very poor from us, and from the first minute they saw that we're very poor at it. I think some of the stuff was that let's put them in a position where I've seen that they cannot contain us anymore. And from those knock-ons were battered in every set piece almost, and there was no recovering from that. And then secondly, I thought when we were passing from breakdowns, we rather passing to the next man. We're not giving some sort of distance for somebody to come with the ball, pick it, and then run through. because
exactly. So as you can see from that very play, Fred, if you could take us back about 10 seconds. As you could see from the previously, now you see how the Ugandans are standing. You may think we are the ones defending, but we are the ones attacking. We were very flat. We have always been flat, and that doesn't give the opportunity to the 10 or the 9, to sort of bring in the players to play. See how flat they are. In fact, Gongodio is even in front of the play. How are you going to receive the ball from in front? That's already a forward pass. So such basics.
And look, automatically, I understand the fact that Morocco's line speed was a bit high. I mean, higher than we expected, or at least the fans, the players expected. But playing a flat ball, not giving the person who is going to carry the ball a distance to run through, it made it even easier for Morocco to defend. And that is what the team did the entire duration of the game. And it was always going to be hard to gain even meters out of your own position, because you would pass, but you're staying in the same place. You're not gaining any meters to go into attack.
Yeah, that the Morocco result, of course, hurting a lot of people. But I think the anger was carried over from what happened on Tuesday. And if we go back to the Kenyan game, first of all, the Kenyan game, like you guys have mentioned, a derby. We have our own rivalry, the Elgon Cup. But of course, when you're playing in a tournament of this magnitude, then the stakes are higher. If you can't beat me in the Elgon Cup, how are you going to beat me when the World Cup is on the line? So the stakes are higher in a game of this magnitude. And that Kenyan game, I watched it when I was in Fort Porto, and I really tried to follow that YouTube stream. Of course, I'm not a big critic, but I just understand the scores as long as we're on the board. And one of the things I was asking Fred, I was watching, we failed to score from a penalty when I think Philip was timed out. Yeah. But for me, I could see the thing was counting. So in my head, I thought maybe when you reach 0, that's when you kick. Honestly, as a fella, I thought when you reach 0 is when you kick. But when you reach 0, of course, even the ref told him, boss, you're out of time. So that's when I also learned. I'm like, hey, you're supposed to kick. Maybe you're given probably 90 seconds.
So when you get a penalty, from the time you indicate what you want to do, then the clock begins ticking down. And when that time runs out, then automatically the ball is turned over. And it was quite unfortunate, because maybe those 3 would have reduced the tally, it was and maybe set the momentum for the rest of the game. It was like a good zone for him to go through. But and another thing to note, now, for example, in the Morocco game, when Philip missed the first kick, that was it. They totally switched off, even when they were in kickable distance, even when they were in areas where they could, maybe the angle is tight, but you can still give it an attempt. They still went they still decided to do the hard things. You have a kickable penalty, put in the 3. If they refuse 22-meter drop, you get back the ball. But then they decide to go for a line out, we lose the line out. We decide to go for scrums, there were scrum penalties, to be fair. There are like about 3 scrum penalties, but you go away with no score. So it doesn't make sense.
Because it was just a cycle. You're doing the same thing that is not working again and again and again.
But expecting a different result.
Look, with the number of kickers on that pitch, Aredo can kick. Okay? If there is need to...
Doesn't William Corey kick for...
Yes, William Corey kicks as well. Yeah. If there is need to switch up a little bit in the kicker, at least do that. But you had penalties in kickable distance, in pretty much in front of the post. I don't think it is something hard to do in trying to chip away at the deficit.
Joseph, isn't that a tactic in rugby, that if you have a good kicker, you sort of try and win penalty? You know how football, where if you have someone who's good at free kicks, so you try and make sure you're causing chaos around the 18. When you get a chance, it's more or less like a penalty. Yeah. So I thought it's like a tactic in rugby, where you try and force that team in giving you penalties around those zones where you can be able to...
Yes, it's a tactic if, first of all, you know how to use it. But from the very basics, if you know rugby, you can't be 14 behind half-time. It's almost half time, you're playing against Morocco, and then you decide not to take those easy 3 points just to reduce that deficit. Then you keep on doing that over and over again to no result at all. It's quite embarrassing. For example, in some instances, where I was seated, I had a clear view of, we would get those penalties, and the first thing our brilliant captain would do is first look over to Philip and then look over to Jose Aredo as if to get decisions from them. You're the leader of this team. Decide for them what we are going to do. If I told you, ask your kicker, should we take the 3 and they are not feeling it, point to another kicker. Let them take the 3. If at all that's what we have decided to do. But if at all you can't make those basic decisions, then you've already lost the game.
Yeah, those are the highlights from...
Is just saying that our kickers were afraid of the moment?
No, and that's, I was going to come to that Kenyan game because those are the highlights from the game, from that Migingo derby against Kenya. Let me start with, I'm asking you the experts, let me start with the leading question that I've had. People speaking about the questionable decisions of who should start on that day. Isn't that a knock-on from Ian?
Yes, but we had an advantage there.
Okay. But let's start with who took the field for the day. And when the changes were actually made, one of them that has been glaringly highlighted was when we decided to remove defenders when we were defending a corner kick and brought on forwards and so, but let's start with the team. I'm surprised that our team captain doesn't even start in his club team. How does that?
Frankly,
but a lot of people are not very happy with the leadership of Byron Wakatoyoto on the day. They felt, and Claude Tem as well did have a very good game. But of course, for me, I'm only seeing score. But let's start with the selection of the team because the Kenyan game was really important in setting the tone for the rest of the tournament. Our team selection.
Yes, we were here last week on Monday, full of enthusiasm, full of optimism, and we made some of the people would like to see on that team when Franklin was hosting, and we could largely agree that the number 1 to number 8 was okay. They brought in a few changes. Personally, I would have loved Demong to start. If at all you want to start on the front foot, you start with your best ball carriers, you start with your strongest men. So I would have loved Demong to start. Obviously, very many fans are not really happy with the captain's performance. So maybe you'd also switch him out from that team. But where the surprises came for most fans was, first of all, the inclusion of Aaron Ofoireth to start in that number 9 position. And then the omission of none of them. And then the omission, the omission of Chisiga from the starting 15 was also another talking point. But just for your question, I think we need to go back to the basics of rugby. The number 9s that we have at the moment are not exactly number 9s. They are rugby players. We need to bring number 9s like Nicholas Katov Heathens. Formerly, you could see what Paul Kalonji did last year when he came in. Number 9, get to the rack, pass the ball. But it's simple. Just distribute the ball. Just make sure you're at that breakdown. But how many times was Aaron arriving to those breakdowns? Basically, the backs were as if playing a sevens game. Whoever was earliest to the rack was deputizing as the number 9 in that position.
And look,
long busting run there from Timothy Kisiga.
But for me, the first mistake I think that happened in that game against Kenya was we had I mean before that show on Monday, I'd had a discussion with Mohammed here that look, if we are looking for a flanker, the captain shouldn't be part of that. We're agreeing that it says that Desire on that open side, and then of course Chidega the other side. Yeah. We knew for sure because during the friendly with Namibia, the captain had suffered some sort of concussion, and we were not certain that he had recovered that quick to be able to play that game. Of course, it magically happened. The assessment was done by, the team doctors and the coach, and they were fit to play. But it got to a point where they started skipping the man because of the balls that he was giving away on every. At his the experience that he has, you can't be diving into a rack. You can't be really turning over the ball every ball that you get with Baran. You should be the one providing the leadership, at least getting the best things right. But overall the team has not been good at all with ball in hand. It has been like that bad.
And frankly, you mentioned something about leadership. Is it the leadership of the group that was not, firm? Most times when you have a firm captain, it may not even be the best player on the team, but it's like we go on to get one, and then guys just fall to Dewali.
Yes,
is it the leadership that was missing? We've seen how Magoma has led the team in the past, and it seems to sort of, he may, even if he's taking us in the wrong direction, we shall go with him.
Of course, Magomo has what the kids call Riz from charisma. Magomo has the charisma to lead the team. Even when he jumps on, you can tell that this is a man who has come for a show. Like, not in a bad way, but this is a man who has come for a show. He has come for a business. He's here to entertain. He's here to win. That is the sort of man you want leading you. And I'm not advocating for Magomo whatsoever.
You mentioned it about the kicking thing. Although normally I see him when maybe we have a penalty, he just says we are going there, and then maybe he will take it himself, or he will call someone else to. But he has pointed that we are going for a kick.
I think as a captain you have to be decisive. Every time you have to consult in decisions. I always want to refer to cricket.
Inclusive leadership.
That inclusive leadership doesn't work. If you're including someone, then you're including a wicketkeeper. Look, was the ball straight or not? It was straight. Okay, we're going. And certainly in rugby, you should be able to see everything. One, you know the capability of your kickers. Two, you know what the team needs in that point in time. If the penalty is missed, let's go again. But you could see people going quiet. I mean, some of the pictures that have been published, every time we concede, there is no some sort of meeting. Everybody is pretty much
everybody's on their way. I hope Frank, Fred can show that try again. The try where it's called what? That short pass where some guy just picked up the ball and just ran through the.
Yes, and
everyone just seemed like lost on the park.
Exactly. And guess who they left standing in that try? The captain.
But there were about 2 or 3 players in that scenario that decided to defend very poorly on that day, beginning with the captain himself, Byron. Also, there was the hooker who had just.
That's a try from the captain.
That was the Ugandan try.
That's a try when we were trying to make a comeback for it, but. It sort of raised our hope, but the hope is the problem.
And you see, what that try illustrates from that lambasting run, as you described it, from Timothy Kisiga, who had intercepted that pass, and then he runs, of course, almost the whole distance. Then there is a breakdown. You could see that he was from the Ugandan point of view. He was on that left flank. Then the ball is picked up. The ball is passed to Munyani. Munyani passes to Alex. Alex passes to Kasito. Kasito puts in a kick and another kick, and then Philip is the captain is there. Byron is there too. So if at all you can score tries off that quick ball, you can score tries off playing an expansive game from behind to in front, left to right. Why aren't you doing that? Why are you, as the smallest team in the tournament, even smaller than the Senegalese, why are you going into that contact every time?
Not a good idea.
Exactly.
And to stay with that, Joseph, the tactics, how much of it is to blame from the technical team as well? The players most times go out there to execute on what they've been told. But did we get our tactics right on the day, especially in the game against Kenya?
Speaking tactically, let me go back a little bit. So in February, they summoned 45 men. They took 33 men to... Southern Africa. Then they ultimately chose 28 men, and from which they chose the 23. Why I am saying that is to show you that from the 28, there are other players who are not in the team. Now, those other players, we occasionally have conversations with them, and they will tell you that of all the things we did in training, I haven't seen one single move from the things we do in training. And you could tell that there was nothing deliberate that they were doing on the day. It was as simple as get the ball. What is the basic? Do not pass forward, pass back. And that was all they were doing. Tactically, you can't see anything deliberate. But also, on another note, you could tell that obviously these are the players that play in the league, with the exception of Kasito and Philip. So coming from a league where teams just play rugby for, with the exception of a few. It has now.
Look,
it has now reflected on the national team. Let me just finish this point. So you have a fully dedicated coach in Fred Modola, who is handling that team. Obviously, there are other assistants, Marvin Odong, Leonard Ruambula, and Timothy, his brother. And then these are the people who have been handling the team. And then you bring in what you would call high-performance consultants. I don't think there's anything high-performance about the 2 games we have played. Maybe they're keeping the high-performance for Ivory Coast. I don't know.
Fred should give us some ice. You see,
maybe next Saturday we shall see
this is
the
a try from the
high-performance.
Kenyans where Fred just take it back a bit, 1 minute.
Where Chow
1
just went
second,
through,
yeah. There is just
from
sort
a
of.
line out.
I saw Magom
that
giving
switch
that
ball.
pass in the game, Pirates and what?
Yeah.
Short
Short-
pass and then
short
someone
pass,
just
switch and
cuts
then
through like.
just cut.
Man's a very good angle. He comes
that
from
is
the
the angle
wing.
that I was
You're
talking
going to
about.
see he comes from the wing, having
Very
gained
long.
momentum.
Yeah, the Byron there missed the
Yeah,
tackle.
and that is what I was talking about. Like, we did not give the ball carriers any sort of heads up for him to come to gain some sort of momentum or force to come and run through. Every time you're making that short ball or like immediate ball, who is next? The tackle is almost there because the tackler is like 2 meters away. So they're just going to dive in before they can even think of doing anything else.
That's good intelligence from a rugby playmaker. I thought was fly half, what's scrum half.
In that case, that was the scrum half.
Scrum half.
He
Short
brings
pass.
your favorite hooker, Emiemu, and now everybody else was flat-footed. They did not care at all. But
Well, what,
here,
7 and
you
6
You
is,
talk
in
about
that
you talk about the high
defensive
performance.
position.
You talk about the high performance. As Uganda, as the rugby cranes, can we pass the ball to the right? I'm very curious.
You
from
talk
the
about
left
that
to the
incident.
right, because
There was a situation where Adrian was always hugging the line, and he kept
it
screaming for the ball, but it just never came.
It was not just one situation. We barely attacked on our right wing at all. And look, I always believe that if those are your best player or your 2 best players are attacking through the right wing, why is the ball not going that side? You know, I don't think, and from the 2 games, we have not passed that ball. We have not gone in attack on the right at all. I think all our players are right-handed. That you can only generate force to pass that ball going to the left, and they cannot go to the right, and that should be a problem. I think it should be very concerning.
Yeah,
Because in one instance, for example, in that Kenyan game, we had an overlap where the ball unfortunately landed in Pius Ogena's hands, and Pius had Philip and Otema on the outside,
right.
but he simply couldn't make that right pass, and he decided to go into contact, and then the overlap died. We came away with nothing in that instance. But also not to play a devil's advocate for Otema, you would realize that most of the time when we were playing, all the flankers were on one end. Now you find Otema is on one end with Munyani. Now in that first try that we conceded, you could see Munyani telling Otema that what? Go outside.
Go outside.
But then, as a winger, he knows the moment he goes to the line, he will leave Munyani in a one-on-one. So he stays a bit, and then so that the attackers can pass out the ball, then he also drifts out instead of drifting out and leaving a gap. I think that was the incident after Munyani had told him to go out.
Go out, yes. Go around and then was.
Man.
but again, the tackle also there missed by Aaron.
Yeah, but that was a cross cover.
Yeah.
The man already going gained
Yes.
whatever momentum, so he's going to easily beat you because he knows you're coming. By the time he beats, he rounds off Otema. He sees the man who is coming and just knows how to go around it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of distance and then you're gone.
You can see there the boys really are putting a strong shift. But in terms of implications, the 2 losses, Joseph, what do they mean? Do they spell doom for our Sevens team? And I'm going to ask Franklin that the Sevens team was sacrificed for us to try and chase this World Cup dream, whether it was worthwhile, because it seems like we shall not get there anyway. The 2 teams in the final, by the way, Zimbabwe will be taking on Namibia, but we are talking about Uganda for now. Joseph, let me start with you. These 2 results, not good at all, but do they spell any doom for the Sevens program? I mean the 15s program. Do we have to restart again and try and catch up, maybe go again in the next 4 years?
Yeah, so obviously we have to do the hard things first. But as Franklin earlier noted, on day 1 we played at 4 p.m. Then last Sunday we played at midday, and now we shall be going to Nambole for breakfast. 10 a.m. The first implication of that game is, should you lose it, you're getting relegated. Because if you find the game against Ivory Coast, the Morocco that we lost to in an embarrassing manner has just been promoted to this league, coming up and then replacing Burkina Faso that was here last year. So if we lose to Cote d'Ivoire, we are definitely getting relegated, and then going to that scrap with teams like Botswana. We shall be playing Tunisia. We shall be playing Lesotho. Just name any African country. We shall be playing this. We shall be playing. That is the first implication. The second implication, most of the players that we have now on the 15th team, some have been phased out, and the point that I was trying to make earlier on when we were talking about Frank Suruga is that for a high-stakes game like this one, you would need to make some hard choices. I was told that Asuman showed up for the training because he has been in Kampala for like 2 months now.
Asuman Mugero.
Yes, ever since the Kenya Cup ended, he has been around. He showed up for training, saw what they were doing, and was like, I'm not going to be part of this circus. And he left. Apparently, Michael Okorachi is too old to be in that team. You have some question I didn't ask you. Apparently, Michael Okorachi is too old for that team. You have good hookers like Cyrus Watum, you sidelined them. Good fly have Saivan Magum, you chase them away. So what exactly are you doing? But yeah, speaking about the future, they will have to make the hard decisions, go back to the basics, go to do the groundwork, first of all, with the age grade. How strong is your under-15s team? How strong is your, the under-17s and, of course, the under-20 program?
Are they present?
They are not. On the national level, they are not. You find efforts from Chadondo, you find efforts from different schools doing this sort of things. There is a move that the South Africans did, and I don't want to compare us to them, but there is a move that they did, you know, that's creating a mole out of nothing.
Yes.
And then they said that they learned it from a B team of an under-14 side. Then when you come to, now for example, they recently concluded national sevens for the schools. There were barely teams playing in the under-15 competition. If I told our top schools, our top rugby playing schools, ideally the under-15 would have senior ones and senior twos and a few senior threes who are early bloomers. If I told our under-15 team from the top rugby playing schools is also not good enough, then how do you expect that on a national level? It's simply impossible. For example, our under-20s last played rugby in 2023. That Battles Trophy that was held in Kenya, that's when they last played. Some of those boys have actually gone in limbo. If you go to Chadondo right now, you'll find some of those former under-20s. There is no clear funnel where they will do what, where they will proceed, maybe going, yes. If at all you're not good enough to play for Heathens, to play for Pirates, to play for what, play in the reserve league. But also the reserve league is...
Joseph is too angry. Joseph hasn't answered my question. He hasn't said whether if we lose tomorrow we'll get relegated.
Yes, we shall get relegated. We shall get relegated if we lose the game against Ivory Coast. You are talking about sacrificing the sevens program. I don't think it was sacrificed because then they're in a rebuild right now, and the players that have been there have simply become too big for they have simply become too big for for that program. You won't bring back the Michael Okorachis, the Aarons, the Phillips. They are past their glory days. Not that they don't know rugby, but that is a phase that they have now outlived. They cannot simply go back. Even if you look at their our neighbors in Kenya, they have also completely reshuffled their team, but somehow they stay up there. Why can't we do this? Why can't we do the same?
Yeah. Look, you talked about, and this is my concern, the championship. You look at the players that play in the championship are players trying to gain form, players out of injury, and they are making bulk of the championship squads. Players that cannot get a nod. They are grown-ass men but can't get a nod in the first teams. And those are the guys playing in the championship teams. I don't think there is any sort of growth, or should I call it relevance, from a player, a 26, 27-year-old playing in box or playing in Pirates, Crusaders, or playing. It doesn't make sense unless there's some sort of whether age restriction or whatever, or a limitation on you can only have this many numbers of players that are playing in the B side. Otherwise, there's no sort of development plan for the sport going forward. And when you look at the cycle and the age of the players that we have right now, they're almost in their final whatever end of the cycle. This could some for that this is like the other cycle of playing, you know. And when you're talking about looking forward, you're not going to have some of these guys. And by the way, with all due respect to the past guys, if you go individually, some of these guys are really great, and this is a talented group. I mean, Phil can pass as probably the best there has been, okay, depending on what he's saying, okay. The talent pool that is there right now, what I think what is missing is one, I don't think there is a lot of intentional coordination or whatever that can make this talent progress. I mean, in terms of delivery and results and all that, you know. But when you have a problem with even specialist positions, and for me that is the most disappointing thing, that even in specialist positions where you know you have 1 or 2 jobs to do it well, but you can't. The number of lineouts that we give, and I think I've said this over time. Of course, we have had a hooking problem since Alex Moiru stopped playing, and the closest thing to Moiru was not Faraji, the guy coaching Victoria University now, Cyrus Watum. Now the man has not been playing. Of course, the news is that he's going to play this coming season, but for Cyrus to get off the team, first of all, it was that kind of politics. Now, when you cannot mold specialist positions, to start with, across the board, you cannot mold players of specialist positions. That is really the problem. You can't jump at 2, you can't jump at 4, you can't jump at 6. In whatever you're trying, you're losing the ball. How is that even possible?
When as we finish this rugby conversation, and I want it to be fair to the players, sometimes I want us to in cricket, we normally say we only want to milk a cow that we've been feeding, and you sort of feel that if you're coming up, they say Algeria has all their players playing professional rugby. Is this a reflection of the quality of our league, or have we? When you go to South Africa for 2 weeks, it's not going to make up for the amount of time the other guy has been putting in over a whole year. Zimbabwe has players I heard who are coming through from their under 20 team and all the way into the national team. So it is sort of deceptive when you say, we are going for a preparation camp in South Africa, and you sort of start raising the expectation of the result, where people are thinking, guys went to South Africa, but you don't know the other guy has been in South Africa the whole year. You're passing by for 2 weeks. Are we being fair to the players? You know, have we given them enough rope to hang themselves? You know, when the preparation is you want to make it look like you've read so hard. Someone put it very well, and I think I was reading comments on Joseph's post where someone said, Uganda is like when we used to be in high school. You read so hard in the last 2 weeks. Remember, their guys have been reading the whole time. You read so hard in the last 2 weeks, and you want to be among the top 10 guys. Is it fair to the players? Because you know, for them, what they mostly do is compete throughout the whole year in the league among themselves. And then here we are putting them up against guys who are playing at a totally different level. You can clearly see that Philip and Adrian are on different level. But the other 13 guys need to meet them somewhere for the whole team to do business.
Dennis, I do not think that's first of all a fair assessment. When you go to Kawowo Sports and you read the article that I wrote before the Kenyan game, you realize that Kenya has about 3 professionals in that team, and there are also semi-pros. The 2 who are in South Africa, they are playing in the 3rd tier. Then the one who is in France is playing in the 4th tier. When you look at the Uganda, yes, when you look at the Ugandan professionals, we have 2 also, and then we played Kenya. That we all know the result. But then when Kenya was playing Zimbabwe yesterday, you could tell that it doesn't matter whether Zimbabwe has a Pat McNabb who is coming from Cornish Pirates in the 2nd league of England. It doesn't matter that they have Ian Pryor who has played in Super Rugby. the Kenyans went out and actually competed. They were even ahead for most of that game. So we shouldn't say that our league is
the issue.
Is the issue.
No, our league isn't the issue. The issue.
Look, for me, the thing is, the way rugby is played in Uganda, the way rugby is played in Kenya, the way rugby is played in South Africa and all that, the first thing is, do you have the basics of the game to start with? Do you have the basics of the game before you talk all these technicalities and how you can improve on whether it is conditioning, whether it is the basic skills of the game? Do you have those? The answer is no. If you can pass to your right, then no, you don't.
I mean, the basics.
If you can't hold the ball, I'm not saying it is criminal to knock on. No, but you cannot. If you cannot hold on to the ball in a tackle, come on, man. It is a game of tackling. You've been tackled your entire life playing rugby.
It's a game of contact.
Come on, it's a game of contact. How can you not hold the ball every time you're tackled? How can you not put the ball forward? I mean, backward to be played. How can you not let the ball be open to be played every time you're gotten into it? That is just basic skills of the game that you think when you're playing at a level where you represent your country. Those should be started basic, like all money.
Yeah.
At least if you're beaten in lesser tactics, that we'll understand. Okay, that look, defensive structures, those are built over time with tactics. Attacking structures, those are built. But when you cannot execute the basics of the game at national team level, at test level, there's no hiding from that.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe as we conclude, the only silver lining that I saw from this whole, thing was the fact that now, okay, we may have been losing some of our lineouts. For example, the game against Morocco, we lost about 3 or 4 out of the about 8 lineouts. But I believe that our lineout has greatly improved. Previously, you'd go for a national team game, and the Kenyans are already pointing at Uhuru. Oh, late, these are the men who are going to jump. But now at least our players have been encouraged. We all knew that Sydney could jump. We all knew that even the captain himself, Oketayot, Ogena, that they can all jump. But now the players are being forced to also, actively carry players like Emong. Previously, when you watch like a Pirates game, you'll never see Emong being carried in the line-out. And it's not because they are not weak. Didi is a strong man. He can, carry Emong in that line-out with Ariho Momza. But that is the only aspect of the game that I believe that they have sort of improved on. That is, now we have a proper line-out. Despite missing a few balls, we have a proper... And also the boys are fit.
Yeah.
I
mean,
we are not certain. I don't think there was a lot of certainty in where you know that if the hooker is throwing the ball at 2, at 4, at 6, the ball is going to be received clean. I don't remember how many clean lineouts we gathered. If we did gather, then we're either turning it over in the mode that comes after. There is getting the lineout, and then there is getting it clean to execute out of that. Whether you're executing lineout plus small or you're going out expansive to pass, nothing. It was scrappy, if I may put it that way. And for me, when it is not smooth, every time a set piece is not smooth, it's already trouble.
I think from where I started this rugby conversation is that I wanted to find out why rugby fans are not happy. And these two gentlemen, I think, have exhaustively mentioned why the fans have not been happy for the last, those 2 game days. Of course, Saturday losing to Kenya, and then on Tuesday losing to Kenya, and then on Sunday losing to Morocco, which means we're going to play in a playoff at 10 a.m. Like Joseph has said, breakfast in Nambole. We shall be playing against Ivory Coast. Hopefully, we can be able to win that one and stay in the group. Otherwise, Chibach Tegeza, we are going down and we'll be relegated. But I think the main event of the day will be the final between Namibia and Zimbabwe. One of those 2 teams will book themselves a ticket to the Rugby World Cup. Unfortunately, that won't be Uganda, so we'll have to stay around and cheer for. We'll pick a side. I see Ugandans always trying to, probably when they lose, they relate with the Zimbabwe beat. Say, let us go with our Zimbabwe brothers and try and cheer them on. But Kenya will be playing against
Algeria in that
in
third
the
place
third and
playoff.
fourth playoff final. That will be the game at midday, and of course the final at 4 p.m. But for Uganda, we like to tell you be early at 10 a.m. Otherwise, you miss watching the boys. And hopefully, they can get a consolation win that can take them forward.
Frank, you look like you have something in your chest.
Just say it. You had a successful head watch yesterday.
Yes, we had a successful head watch yesterday. For a moment, we thought it wasn't going to actualize when the Kenyans were ahead. But then the Zimbabweans, of course, experience coming to the fore. Ian Pryor had missed a few penalties earlier on, but then he managed to slot in some even harder penalties. He also, when the Kenyans were within range of the 5-point lead, he then put in a drop goal just to put that buffer between them and show them that their classes apart.
Look, I need to talk about a little bit about that moment of madness at the end, and how our referee handled that game, especially at that moment where Kenya score. They have to take a conversion. Of course, they score when the hooter had gone, so it means a conversion has to be taken. They, however, don't bring, they take the conversion and they just leave it rather than that.
I was also quite surprised by that, and someone said that now our referees are refereeing 15s as if they are 7s, because ideally you're supposed to take that conversion even if the hooter has gone, because you've already scored and you have the right to convert. But the other interesting incident...
I thought Kenya chose not to convert. They wanted the time to run out, and so Namibia can restart before whatever they can finish the game. But again, it was only where I mean, put the ball on the tee, let the time run out for converting, and then it's turnover, kick, and kick
but
shot.
then otherwise, I think Ronaldo Timber had a very good game. Yeah. At some point, I thought he wasn't even Ugandan because because how do you let Kenya win? But the man is a professional. He has to referee what's in front of him, despite the feelings.
As usual, hate watching, but that's rugby conversation, and very well detailed from Joseph and Franklin. More details of that and more on Kawowo Sports. If you catch up on the stories there, you'll be able to find other details that we were not able to mention here. But like I've mentioned, 10 a.m. Uganda on Saturday will be taking on Ivory Coast, and they'll be playing so that they can stay in the championship. But the all-important final will be between Zimbabwe and Namibia. One of those two teams will be booking a ticket to the Rugby World Cup. And
of course, the things that the union does well, apparently, is organizing a part. Apparently, she's a Vivulu, somebody promoter. She's a Chivulu promoter. So after that, be sure.
So for the Ugandan fans, after the final, of course, expect a very big Chivulu. But Tewiko Mao, 1 week later, whoever finished second in this competition will be playing someone from Asia. So our union still has Mobivulu to produce and organize. Yes, it's going to be here in Kampala. So tucha Bivulu, stay tuned.
Enjoyment, lots of enjoyments. But that has been the rugby conversation. And but let's switch the conversation quickly and go and talk about the Gazelles. The ladies, we are hoping that they will do us proud when they go to Ivory Coast, but for now they are in Egypt in their training camp before they go to Ivory Coast. Frankly, all the girls are in. Should we expect big things? Don't be like Joseph probably says big things.
First, all the girls are not in. 2 of the girls are not yet with the team, Paige Robinson and Maya Waswa. And obviously, those are 2 very important pieces, but the rest of the group is in. I mean, and Claire as well. They are not yet part of the team, but they are going to join the team in Alexandria after tomorrow when they play their last warm-up game against Cameroon. Should we expect good things from the team? I want to believe so. Obviously, from the past 2 games that they played against Egypt and Rwanda, they've not looked particularly well with how they've taken care of the ball. I think the turnovers have been quite a problem for the team, but these are warm-up games. In terms of offensive structure, I think there have been very good things from the team, especially in terms of how the guards are executing the half-court plays with the big men, and how they are trying to create open shots on the wing, and how they are being able to run the pick and roll, to run in for, especially for Jenatinde Hopakera and Melissa Kulu to go at the basket. For now, I think it is a structure, a work under progress, and you want to believe that by the time the team leaves Egypt to go to Ivory Coast, they will be a little bit better than what they are looking right now. I want to believe that one, having these players together for an extended time, I think is going to help a little bit, especially when we are going to play against teams that we are familiar with. Most of the girls on the team were in Rwanda in 2023. I mean, the most important players were part of the team in. So you're talking Hopakero, Jena Sinde, even Nachinji, Melissa Kulu. These girls were part of the team in 2023 that played against Senegal and Guinea, the teams that we are going to play in the group stage of the competition. I think this helps a lot, and obviously the girls that they have brought in have been part of the setup of the Gazelles. They are not entirely new to the team, apart from of course Wasa, who will be playing with the Gazelles for the first time, but there is enough time for her to blend in, and they believe that for players who have been through the college system or a better basketball system, adjusting is always not a problem. You know, it is always easier for them to read what sort of plays, what sort of running that the team is running. Of course, knowing who Coach Nick Natwelza is, some of these things are going to be ironed out. I think if you were to take any positive from what has happened in these two games, is that there's some bit of structure, offensive structure, intention on how the team wants to score. Yeah. And they have quite insisted on that, whether it's in transition, whether it is in the half court, and how they move the ball in trying to get the important players open. And obviously, the offense obviously ran through Jena Sinde, who has been on the ball a lot, of course, in these two games, and she's been a culprit of turning over the ball a little bit here and there. But it doesn't. It's not. The two losses are not a result that says that. We're badly off.
Yeah,
no, not at all.
I wanted to ask you, Franklin, about and for me this is something that has come in my mind, that this is a very big opportunity for Nick Natuhereza.
Yep.
A lot of our national teams are handled by foreign coaches. Yep. A bit from cricket where I come from, yep. Football, rugby as well. But for Nick, this is an opportunity for him to sort of like a sliding door moment, yep. to create, I don't want to call it an illusion, but to give an opportunity for those that will come after him, yeah. that we can trust our own and they can take us to the next level. If the team goes well and they do well in Ivory Coast, it will be very difficult for FUBA to go back on a decision of hiring a local coach.
Look, and this, by the way, this is not the first time that the girls are being handled by local coaches. The first time that, the second time that we qualified in 2015, the team was handled by entire local coaches, Ali Mavita and Timothy Odeke, to go to that Afrobasket. That was coming for the few recent minds. Uganda had last qualified in 1997 to go to Kenya, but in recent memory it was in 2015 when they went to Cameroon. And local coaches, it was the first time that local coaches were trusted with the job. Of course, after that there was a little bit of not so much investment in the women's basketball and all that. So but until after COVID, when the female basketball, the Gazelles, was, I think, taken more seriously. Yeah. There's been a deliberate effort to have these local coaches part of that whole setup. Of course, Nick was part of that 2023 team that was in Rwanda for that tournament, and at the time he had no problem with being an understudy for a foreign coach. But when he was given the opportunity to go to take the team to the qualifiers, I think he made it clear that he is ready for this job.
Yeah.
by delivering that qualification that had them beating Egypt in the final in front of their own fans. And for me, I think if there are coaches that have grown through the ranks, learned through experience, I think Nick is one of them. And for me, he's ready for the job, and I'm certain he's going to do very well in as far as local coaching. And obviously, it provides an opportunity when you have Julius Ultrama. Of course, you have Ben Komakech, who you think these should be the next coaches that are going to be part of the system. And it helps that you have your local guys experiencing the highest level of basketball on the continent.
For them.
So earlier on, Franklin said something interesting. He mentioned that the important players who are in that Afrobasket 2023 in Rwanda are also in the team that is undergoing preparations in Egypt. Then he corrected himself and said the most important. And then I remembered that very important conversation we have been having about Franklin Subuga and the Michael Koraches. So maybe if you care to elaborate the most important that have returned, who have been omitted from that 2023 team?
Not really omitted. Obviously, Janon Otto was out with injury. That's why she's not part of this team. Yeah. But obviously,
she made us very happy in Kigali.
And she made the All-Star 5. When you make the All-Star 5 for a team that did not even get into the semi-final, it means you were extremely, extremely good. To be a part of the team of the team that did not even get into the final four. So apart from Janon, the rest of the players, you're talking Kilea Lamunu, Jenna Sinde, you're talking Melissa Kulu, Hope Akero. I thought these were the after Janon. I think these were the next most important players for Uganda, of course, outside of Babidie. Who is not a part of the team, obviously, because of Vintuya Trump movement. You may go out and you're not let back in. So, look, some of the players that we are missing, for sure, in my opinion, on this team is Diana Retaru. She is at Grayson University. She was at Grayson University, but it is a Division 2 school. It's a small school, so she has not yet committed to a better school. And the college basketball that we know, NCAA, she has not committed to a better school, so she cannot come out until she has committed to a school where she's going to play next. And for me, having followed her throughout the season, I thought she would be a very, very, very good addition to the team, especially in that small forward position for the team. But again, Babidi is still the same thing. But even to you come in US, if you're not certain, you cannot get out.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, that is not a good thing. It was not a good thing for our team, but that is something that you can live with. There's always next time.
So when do the Gazelles go to Ivory Coast for the business proper?
They are going to go to the Ivory Coast next week. They're going to spend this week in Alexandria. After tomorrow's game, they'll move to Alexandria for a training camp, and then they'll go to Ivory Coast next week.
All right. Don't worry. Kawowo Sports is making plans to make sure that we bring you all the action from Abidjan in Ivory Coast. In real time, not waiting for until West African time, East African time. No. We're going to make sure that we get you all the details in real time, and hopefully that our team will be there during the Afrobasket in Ivory Coast. Right. But to finish up the conversation today, we'll talk about cricket. And Joseph, before we started the show, was asking for the fixtures. He wanted to see when Uganda is playing Kenya. I think that's the only game he's going to watch. But he wants to come and make as much noise as possible. The cricket cranes will be in action in the Pearl of Africa series. And they will be facing off with 4 other nations. The UAE, for the first time, will be visiting Uganda, 14th ranked nation in the world. So we have a big boy in the building, and they brought a full strength team. The UAE will be here. The Namibia coming here with their A team. But if you look at the team, doesn't look like the A team because they brought some big names. Nigeria, our Oga boys, will be one of the first teams to touch down today, I think by 5 p.m. they will be here. And also the Kenyan brothers, the East African boys will be here tomorrow morning. So it's going to be an interesting series. And in my start, I hinted about the team that will be representing Uganda. But Joseph, are you coming to cheer for Uganda against Kenya? That was always a big derby, I'll tell you. No matter how, over the years, Uganda has sort of gone ahead of Kenya in terms of rankings. But every time we meet Kenya, you sort of feel like we are the same level. The ranking does not matter at all. Clearly, the ranking thrown out in a derby because Kenya will bring their A game against Uganda any day, anytime.
Yeah, obviously, on that 21st of this very month, July, obviously the Rugby Africa Cup is ending on the 20th July, a Saturday. So on Sunday, I and a few friends will be down there just to hate watch on those on those Ogali boys to make sure that Juma Miyagi and company really bring on that revenge that we are all looking for.
Yeah, like I've mentioned, bring all your friends because they may be able to walk away with a flat screen TV if they come through to support the Cricket Cranes. But frankly, just to talk about the series and in relation to the team that Uganda has put out, what should be the expectation from the fans? Is it a realistic one that we can be able to win the whole thing altogether, or this is looking like a series where you're trying to see how far am I from the other guys? I think yes, all the teams that are coming in that tournament, apart from the UAE, will be at the T20 qualifiers in Namibia. So it sort of gives you some good perspective on how far you are from your opponent or how close they are to you. So in terms of a realistic expectation, the game starts on Thursday, by the way. The teams arrive tomorrow, but they will be in action on Thursday. What should be the realistic expectation from the fans?
The first thing is people should know that Entebbe ground is not a ground where you go run scoring. Like
I think we've changed that. Now I'm speaking like an insider. But we've changed that to make sure that we sort of create the same surface like in Nogogo. Ball comes to bat, so we want to see so many runs. We don't want to see 90 all out and then the other team wins by 2 runs out. So we've created a surface where it is ball coming to bat, the same sort of conditions that you're going to find in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, but look, one of the things that I think fans should expect, especially fans that are not really familiar with cricket, is that T20 cricket is the entertaining type of cricket. For rugby fans, like it's the sevens of cricket. You come in to watch the sevens, and so there is not going to be a lot of kind of defensive playing, if I may put it that way. It's cricket that is attacking, and for me the thing is, I'm excited about the two boys, Lutaya and Watua. For me, these are boys who just hit the ball. See the ball, I hit it. And look, of course there are going to be times when you always caught, but if any of these boys is in their groove on that particular, obviously Obia is that kind of player as well. For me, the top 4 guys in terms of that batting order, I think it should expect some sort of scoring from them. Of course, winning the tournament is something different. It depends on how each team grows into the tournament and all that. But on any given day, you're going to see some sort of entertaining cricket, especially.
Yeah, even me, I'll be very, very shocked if that tournament is not interesting. T20 cricket is short and quick, entertaining as well. So it's not, that whole day stuff where you're like, let me first go somewhere, I'll come back and find it. By the time you come back, you may be getting news and you missed out on something.
And by the way, when you have Dinesh and Alpesh in the middle order, again, that is all hitting. Almost from 1 through to 6. I think
Uganda has improved their range hitting from probably number 4, even as far as low down as Juma Miyagi and Cosmas Chewuta. All of them can hit a long ball. So it should be interesting how they shape up against. It's been a while since I played this top format, but this is the format that took us to the World Cup, and we are hoping that we can be able to go for a second World Cup. So the action starts on Thursday. Uganda will be in action on Thursday morning. If Fred could throw those fixtures around again, Uganda will be in action. I think the first 2 match days Uganda plays in the morning, unfortunately. But after that, all the games will be in the afternoon, so people can be able to have an opportunity of swinging by Entebbe Cricket Oval. Joseph asked me something very important. No 30K. That 30K will be for enjoyments. So come with your 30K for enjoyments. Don't worry about entrance. It's absolutely free. Everything is on Uganda Cricket, apart from the drinks and eats. So hopefully that a lot of people can come out and support the team. But I want to end this conversation here because we overspent our time. But it's been another interesting episode of the weekly Wowos, but
Yeah,
a lot of it bumped into rugby.
Before we sign out, you also you also said something very important about that flat screen TV. I don't know what the criteria is, and also our producer Fred is very interested in that flat screen TV. So maybe if you could tell us, give us some hints.
The flat screen TV is an offer from one of the partners for the tournament, Hisense. 43-inch flat screen TV could be yours if you're the loudest fan for the cricket craze throughout the Pearl of Africa series. So Mbabi Deke Vivuzo, you guys, you know what to do. Just come and make it as enough noise as possible. That flat screen TV will surely be yours at the conclusion of the Pearl of Africa
and
series.
we will see.
But there are also mobile phones to win, so it depends on your preference. If you got a TV, you do this. So if you want a phone, so there are a lot of giveaways for the fans.
So hopefully I'll sit next to Frank ngakona now shout. Now shout.
Another interesting episode of the weekly Wowos comes to a conclusion. I've had Franklin Kawowo, an editor of Kawowo Sports. Joseph Mani Muhumza today was very because of those rugby results, but our resident rugby expert and of course our producer Fred, who's behind the scenes. I've been your weekly host Dennis Musali, but as usual, make sure you keep reading Kawowo Sports.
Ne producer wachiba ngobe na mbole.
Producer baguba wachi.